There are things that you'll say in the gaming streets and you'll be laughed at. I mean, it's either you said it maybe as a knee-jerk reaction, or maybe some way, somehow, you probably did not consider exactly what it is was about to come out of your hands before you typed it. I talked in my last video about what I thought was the subjective quality of PlayStation games. This is only something that is judged by the player themselves. I never really said that PlayStation games don't have quality. I've played a good number of them, and obviously, the fact that I enjoyed them, they gave me a fun experience. I can tell you that these games are quality to me. However, I've heard other people say that these exact same games are overrated, and they played them too. So what am I going to do? Beat them in the head until they accept my view of quality? No. Quality is something that is subjective to the nature of the game as it resonates with the player. That's it. I play Gotham Knights. Quality? Heck yeah. Hundreds of hours of quality. But I also played the Arkham games. Quality? Heck yeah. Even hundreds of hours on all of the Arkham games. Finally beat all of them, and I'm starting to move again into the 100% of all the other Arkham games, which I haven't even done for Gotham Knights, and I've played Gotham Knights longer. So the quality is subjective to everyone. Yes, I know, I just said Gotham Knights and Arkham Knights. Some of you fell out your chairs. Get up, get back on the headphones. So this audience member said, let me guess. Activision has quality? EA? Bethesda? And he started to name all these other different publishers out here, as if to say that these companies don't have quality games, or is unaware that what we're seeing right now is basically a corruption of the gaming industry. But if you were to ask anybody who's played these games long enough, EA was not a name that you would dissociate from quality years ago. In fact, EA is a mixed bag. Don't get me wrong, but am I wrong to say that BioWare under EA did not come up with the Mass Effect games? Am I wrong to say that Dead Space was not something that was an EA, published production? Am I wrong to say something about the old Dragon Age games, even to the point that, yes, it's not my kind of game, heard about the hype so much, I decided maybe I need to go ahead and see what people are actually talking about and why this game is cooking so much in the eyes and the minds of many. So once again, I understand the need to want to maybe tout these PlayStation games in these, interesting lights, but the moment they all show up on Steam and stuff, they now have to deal with the third-party publishers who've made it their entire art to actually make games, not necessarily these so-called experiences that are so curated in terms of what Sony does. Not saying there's anything bad about it, but when it comes to being able to pretty much curate an experience that is unmatched by what, say, people like From Software do and so on and so forth, PlayStation games don't really show that. If they did, they'd be selling as much as some of these third-party games are. Or maybe no one is just interested in these PlayStation games and it's because they've never heard of them before. That's all it is. It's not necessarily that, one set of quality measures that everybody in some consensus on the internet, the 4% of us that buy these video games anyways, it's not our consensus that goes. If the consensus was about quality in that regard, then you should not have to worry about making a remaster to a masterpiece. But the moment you have to remaster it, then that so-called perceived quality is only there to a certain select number of people. I mean, this is not to downplay, or this is not to downtrod, or this is not to categorize these games. This is just to show the reality that's out there. And in today's world, what I would say, may not be my forte, it's probably going to be someone else's forte. So this is why, even though I'll tell you, I played Avowed, but I'm not so, versed in a lot of the way Obsidian makes their games and the way that they actually channel them, right? So Avowed is kind of more, for me, something that I have to actually pick up and get through, say, a lot of the nuances and a lot of the way that game is. But I'll never sit back and talk about the game being quality or not quality, because those who are used to playing games like that and RPGs like that, they'll look at me and call me crazy, because they understand that to them, that game is quality. And the subjective nature of quality is why we have to actually go around and, again, for the most part, look at other people's preferences and say, okay, perhaps maybe this is not resonating with me. And what's crazy and what's funny, ladies and gentlemen, is, if these games were actually placed in a very specific, set of conditions, it's funny that some of us who think that these games we may not necessarily resonate with might actually like them. Elden Ring, to me, is probably the biggest example of a game that I did not know if I would like. I bought it. I played it for the first like 10, 12 minutes. I said, nah, this is just not my kind of game. I remember I have the refund email. I still kept it. That's one of my, I probably should print it, and put it in like and frame it and hang it on the wall. Because I remember Steam was like, oh, your Steam refund has been handed to you. And I said, man, I don't know, man. I don't know. I said, you know what? All right. Let me go ahead and let me just do it on CD keys. What the heck? I mean, I'll save, it's $15 less, or I think it was like $10 less as the game came out, So I was like, all right, we're going to go ahead and do that because, this might just be a better way to go about getting this game anyways. And it won't be too much of a hit because 60 was kind of, in my opinion anyways, y'all know I'm a bargain gamer. So 60, I got to be certain. I don't need any uncertainty if I'm giving you $60, right? So I said to myself, let me go ahead and try it out. Let's see what happens. And I went ahead and I bought that game on PC and I started playing it. Elden Ring. I played it and I said, oh my gosh, I would have missed out on what I consider in this instance a great game. I felt somewhat, ashamed that I went ahead and I bought a PlayStation copy of the game just so that I could fulfill that full price, thing in that regard. I literally went ahead and bought a PlayStation version and just, played a few hours of it so far and just left it there. Because the game, to me, is a quality game. Now, I recommended the game to a lot of my friends. Most of them were like, I recommended the game to 3 buddies of mine. One got hooked. The other 2, I don't know, bro. One of them bought it. He's like, man, it's just still not my type of game. The other one was like, I'm not really into this Dark Souls-like games where I got to fight a boss and all that stuff. And I said, I get it. And believe you me, one of those whom I actually, that bought the game and wasn't too fond of it, he's a Bethesda nerd. He's the guy that plays Fallout 76 for 3 years and stuff. And he's like, yeah. He's the guy that played the Elder Scrolls, Oblivion, Skyrim, all of them. He's the guy that plays Cyberpunk 2077 for hundreds of hours because he's that kind of guy that he becomes level 5,000 and walks into a village and beams everybody. Collectionist, slow churn in terms of that. He's going to love Avowed. This buddy of mine. But Elden Ring didn't work for him. Me, Avowed, I need to give it a second chance. This is why I don't ever, when I play the game for the first time, I leave my judgment in the trash can. I've literally done it that way. So quality in this regard, and I say all that just to say, you know what? Let's be real with ourselves. Quality is a very subjective metric. We should never be talking about it. Does that make sense? Just because the camera's over the shoulder and all the, textures are pretty and beautiful and stuff, it doesn't make the game any more quality because I can tell you that my experience with a game like God of War Ragnarok and a game like God of War 2018, it did not spell that Ragnarok was a quality game to me, even though that game followed basically similar precepts and patterns. Look at this is my PC version of God of War Ragnarok. I ended up going ahead to play the game even more again on PC. Even went ahead, to do so after having beaten the PlayStation version. I remember when I was upgrading to the PlayStation 4 Pro, I walked into a store. They had the brand new PlayStation 4 Pros. They had different kinds. I opted for a used God of War version of the PS4. I think it was a PS4 Pro, but then it broke on me. I had warranty on it at GameStop. So I went in and I got the Red Dead Redemption 2 bundled one for PS4 Pro. But I opted for a used, that's how much I enjoyed this game. It was the first God of War game I'd ever beaten. I used to see, friends of mine that had a PlayStation back in the day. They had it in their house, but I never got to play more than like 20 minutes of it. But when I played Ragnarok, I told myself I will never play this game again. So what is quality? What the heck is quality? Is quality by visuals or is quality by the fun that you have in the game? Because both games arguably had similar visuals, if not that Ragnarok improved its visuals. And show me where my copy of God of War Ragnarok is on PC. It ain't here. I did not bother to double dip. And by all means, I double dip on PlayStation games that I enjoy, except for Uncharted 4. Get the heck out of here with that $10 stupid texture upgrade nonsense. right? But I enjoy it because it's like, yeah, it's like a tip. I know Mikey Barr comes to mind and all that. So quality is this subjective thing, and I think we need to understand that, it's how it resonates to the player that we can use to basically judge that. It may not be that for us. Okay, sure. But it may be somebody else's forte. Now, this is not to say that there are no bad games. Don't get me wrong. Thanks for watching the video, guys. Peace out.